Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Lion of Code. I am One Lion, and you are Mojo Forward. You are indeed first. Absolutely. So, I have some things that I need to take care of really quick before we actually get the stream started, but I wanted to say hello. I am here. I hope you are here too. Depending on how the day goes, we'll just play it by ear, right? We'll keep going. It's been an interesting morning so far, and there are some things that are just starting to get a little bit out of hand, but that's fine. Let me get this opened up. Actually, it's not fine. I don't know why I said that's fine, but I will continue moving on. So I need to create a branch with this, bring these changes over, call this branch um, that. And then I'm going to create a second branch that is just going to be a different approach. And hello, Dukasoft. So today is typically Community Day. Oh man. So I'm not hearing a single thing coming out of OBS. Um, Actually, you know what? I am going to just disconnect and reconnect my headphones. I know that I'm getting sound from my headphones because people are walking behind me. Um, rude much because I heard it do the ding thing, but I can't hear them. Well, I guess the music stopped or it was playing really quietly. Bling! It did say bling. Um, I can't hear the music. I know you can because OBS says you can. I'm gonna turn it up. No, still can't hear it. And I think the main issue is that I restarted my computer because of a Windows update. And so everything, like my OBS did the thing again. Okay, I'm here now. My OBS did the thing again where it reset all of my audio settings and it said device not available for every single one of them. But I think after doing this, I can hear the music now. I can. Great. Okay, so I got my ears. Here is the project, and I even remembered to turn the bot back on. I guess not really turn it on, but have it connect because it turns on automatically. I tell it to listen to the channel. I'm looking for this, maybe? I don't know. Does anyone know what I'm looking for? Because I sure don't. We'll go to GitHub on this screen. Excuse me. Man, there are so many things that are going on that are just not happening. Hello, Amanita. Konnichiwa. Hope you're having a great day. I like your yo-yo. Time to put the OBS settings into GitHub. Yes. That'd be nice. Okay, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. I need to push this locally. Um, output, output, output. And I I wish that I could see this. I don't think I'm going to be able to. Definitely not. Okay, so the the thing that I 少しわかります。私も日本語は少し話せます。少し。Like I know how to say that phrase, and I know how to introduce myself, and I know how to ask about the weather, and just a couple other phrases, but that's about it. I can't hold a conversation in Japanese. Gosh, this is too much. I was previously able to. Oh wait, yeah, I was previously able to run my logger, my what is it called? My source generator. I was able to debug it before using some hacks of some sort. And now when I try to use the same one, it tells me that .NET crashes, and here is the debugger for .NET.exe, when really I want the logger, the generator, to be the thing that says attach the debugger. Oh, you know what? No, no, no. It's definitely the right click, properties. Maybe the build profile was removed at some point in time. Debug profiles. Yeah, okay. So it's currently called Roslyn component, and I believe it needs to be called debug generator. Or no. Man, this is so hard to think through, because like I have a compiler flag that says if debug generator is specified, then do the whole turning on the. But yeah, that's got to be it. It's that I'm not in debug mode. Do the whole turning on the whatever it's called. Attach the debugger, and now it's giving me the same thing, where .NET is the thing that's crashing it and not log my source generator. Okay, anyway, moving on. I need to finish that quickly. So today is typically what do we call it? Community Day, which means that I like to invite people into the voice channel to discuss technology related topics and have vocal conversation if you feel like it. There is absolutely no requirement to. Just know that if you do want to come into our chat in Discord, a voice channel, then you will be dun dun dun. Then your voice will come through on the stream. I do record the stream, so it'll come out on the VOD, and I also post the video to YouTube 24 hours, at minimum 24 hours after the stream. So if you don't want your voice coming through a YouTube recording or on the VOD, then we can still have a conversation via chat. So you chat me, and I'll speak with you. So it's not necessarily just asking questions. It's not necessary. Thank you, Mojo. Mojo's going to be the Discord bot now. Um, what was I saying? Beep poop. um, I can't remember. That's too funny. Yes. It's not necessarily that you will just be asking me questions, because you could just have topics that you want to talk about, topics that are important to you, preferably in the realm of technology, and keep clear of things that may be construed as controversial. Well, political and socio-economical kind of topics, but controversial is fine as long as it is in the realm of, like, here's my opinion on how you should do blah for programming. This is how you should implement the repository pattern, or you should use the repository pattern, or you shouldn't, or here's AutoMapper, here's why or why not, those kinds of things. And Thindle says, I can't join the community day today because I'm trying to play Diablo 4. I'm assuming that's Diablo 4. It could be Destiny 4, but I don't think Destiny 4 is a thing, is it? But anyway, thanks for stopping by. Okay, it is Diablo 4. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi and resubbing. I really, really appreciate the resub. Not that you have to do that either. It is appreciated, though. So yeah, just about me for today. Like, I know I want to focus on the community, but I just want to let you all know that for the past couple of weeks, I have been getting more and more frustrated and stressed by situations happening at work. But I am doing my best to be more. It's not necessarily being positive about them. It's being realistic with myself of, should I really be getting frustrated at this thing? And then if I am, then finding again, not positive to mean I'm trying to be toxically positive, but finding a way to manage the frustrations in a productive, non-destructive manner. It doesn't help, but remember that we love you. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So if I do come across snippy or anything like that, then I really apologize up front. I'm trying to pay attention to it and I don't want to do it. What do you think of my little emote? Is that the tiger? I mean, the one that believes he's a lion? Oh, I can't just drag it over. Yeah. Or not Thindikitty. Are you talking about a different emote? Person in Twitch traced Zelda. Oh, Zelda's the name of your cat. I gotta remember these things, man. I don't remember these things. And again, one more time, I do want to thank you, especially since it's Community Day, for your PR for financial management, for putting the YAML workflow in here. That we integrated that on Wednesday, and we just did a couple of fixing and making sure that everything was working the way that it's supposed to be working. I don't know why the status isn't updating, because it has run and it has been successful. So I was expecting to see this status show up, but that's fine. I'm not super worried about that. The other thing that I did do after Wednesday's stream was I merged the two changes that we made. One which was to remove the Maui project, and then the other one was to fix the table issue that we had. So that issue is now closed, and so we only have two issues that we have logged left to do. They're both features essentially. One of them is to add the ability to ed transactions after creating new transactions after they exist, and the other one is to filter the account summary by clicking on the account itself from our accounts summary component. So I will go ahead and move on over to main. Let's get our local branches cleaned up. Yeah, it does look how it does. Kitty! Oh no, this is gonna be so bad. I'm gonna watch this on repeat like 60, 70 times. I want to hug. I want to hug. No, come back. Oh, it's back. It's back. It's all good. That definitely brightens my mood. Oh, I love that. She's all like, this is my life now. I accept this. Tyndall was saying that he can do whatever he wants. He can pick her up, shake her around. But you still look like you're very loving to her. So that's really cool to see. She's a fat cat. The fattest. Of course I am. That's awesome. Okay, so in the meantime, I can either have you guys stare at this screen, actually stare at this screen, while I come up with something. Like, I still want to spend some time. Ooh, we got a no docs from Dukasoft Spot. Awesome, thank you so much. Stares in admiration. What I would like to do is to figure out why I can no longer debug my source generator. Because I have a very, very specific situation that just came up. So here I am thinking that I'm doing things in a way that will make the code easy to maintain in the future. Yes, it's a lot of work up front, but once it's established, then it's good to go. So my source generator will look for an attribute. We have, let me state it this way. We have a whole bunch of different object types that we need to log to Event Logger. And they all always have the same top level information. So let's say that there are 6, yeah, let's just say 6 because it's a number greater than 2. I have no idea how much it really is though. So we have 6 fields that are always displayed in an event log entry. So in the description for an event log, it always has these specific fields: the application executable that was used to run the app, including any switches that were with it, the version of the app that's being run, the start time, the end time, and then a few others. So that kind of thing. And I guess it's not the start time of the app, it's the start time of the test, for example. So let's say we're logging a test thingy. So we have the start time and the end time of the test run, for example. And right now we have one object type that is for determining what happened after this test was unsuccessful. Should have been in front of the queue in that case. Oh. I keep tabbing in and out, so that's why I can't join. Gotcha. Yeah, everyone's trying to get into Diablo 4. But yeah, so right now they're asking for one specific case. Give me all of these fields plus this one extra field or 2 or whatever we come up with to capture the information that they want to capture in the event log. They have also asked for another type of thing to be captured, which is a user journey, for example. And that will have different fields, including all of those existing fields. So that sounds like, and I said this on Wednesday, that sounds like just have an abstract class that always prints out these fields and then find some way to print out the extra fields based off of the new class that you are printing out, and have each of your things. So test run is one type, and then user journey is another type of thing. Yeah, sound good so far? So the way that we would normally do that is have an abstract class that has the, let's say, toEventLog text or whatever we want to call it. And the toEventLog text method will output the string with all of the standard fields plus the new fields. And the new fields can be added by either doing a call to another must override extra info, which means that the person creating the class will need to know what format to expect the output is expected to be in, or use reflection to go through all of the properties that are now added that aren't the standard properties and print them out in string form, key equals value kind of thing. Some of them are numbers, some of them are strings, some of them are booleans, and they want it represented in a specific way kind of thing. So instead of going to reflection, so I didn't want developers to have to know what the pattern is and implement it every time perfectly. So I said, my initial approach was, let's just use reflection because I'm used to that. And I'm like, reflection is said to be slow, and I don't expect this thing to happen often. However, what I have heard the better approach is to use a source generator, and I hadn't really written a source generator before, so I wanted the experience of it, and it seemed like an appropriate situation to use it for. So I wrote a source generator. And what that does is it inherits, or not inherits, it says anything with this attribute on the class will extend, will implement the abstract class for event log item, and it will override the event log items to event log, and then the body is generated by the source generator to print out all of the standard fields and look for any property, any public property that has the log field attribute sauce generator. Yeah, especially if it can generate different types of sauces. Oh, push a button and you get your ketchup, push another one, barbecue sauce, Chick-fil-A sauce, mayo, hot sauce of different varieties. Anyway, good idea. So it creates the method and creates a string builder, adds all of the existing fields, and then finds the new fields using the attribute log field, which you can add more information with. You can do stuff like in this log field, you can say, I want it, the output name of this thing to be this other thing. So let me give an example of that. Let's say that I have a field that is, what did the user do after the test will run? and I had that as the property name for some reason. And then that's what gets output by default. And the client comes back and says, no, I actually wanted to say something else. And so I'm like, okay. So I go into my log field attribute and I say name equals something else. And now when it outputs in the event log, it says something else equals without needing to change the property name. And that way, when it's used in external libraries, the property name can remain the same, but the output name for our event logs changes. So that was one major benefit, and that just happened. That's why I'm bringing that up as an example. That's one major reason that I loved doing it that way. However, we have this, we have a field, one new field that we added, which is what are the steps that the user took after this test failed, and they were presented with the results of that test. Did they click in troubleshoot? Did they click in, was troubleshoot even offered to them? And so what I did is I created flags so that every time that they do an interaction in this troubleshooting flow or whatever happens after a failed test, that gets tracked as a flag, and I pipe OR it. So a flag is just an enum where all of the values are base 2, or typically we use base 2, but it can be anything as long as you don't overlap when you combine flags together. And so what that does is it accumulates all of the actions taken, and then it outputs a number at the end, one number. And that number doesn't mean anything without some kind of lookup, like a table. And so that number currently says, like, if it's 165 or something, then they took this first step and this second step and this fifth step and this seventh step, and outputs a number. I mean, that's the wrong math, but it outputs a number. And so we put that into the current version, had the client look at it. They're like, we like the one field thing, but we want it represented as a bit string, essentially, where you output the first one as 0 or 1, meaning the first condition was met and satisfied, second condition was met and satisfied, third condition was met and satisfied, etc. And I'm like, that's cool and all. We can do that. We can turn an integer or any number, any whole number, into bit representation. And we're going with little endian, so we all agreed on that. We're like, yes, we want least significant bit first, because otherwise the flow doesn't make sense anyway. And so now positionally, instead of providing a table that has all of the end result numbers as integers, so like 165 means this, we say first bit set means this, first bit unset means this. So bit position, this is what it stands for, this is the description of that. And that's what they want to go with. And I'm like, cool. My source generator does not currently do that. So my source generator knows how to format things, unless there is a toString on a number that formats it to little endian bit formatting, bit string. C# toString int toString format little endian. Not really a byte array, it's a bit array. We can do bitconverter.getBytes. Okay, so there's this thing called bitconverter.getBytes. So that's nice, but I was hoping for a toString format kind of thing. Left shift, right shift incoming. Exactly. Because it's not like I already have a byte array. It's just that I want to take a number, output it as, well, I guess this is what's going to happen. Output it as, yeah, I mean, this would be the exact process that I use currently. But I was hoping for a .toString and then some kind of string format that says output this number as bit string. But yeah, this is how I'm already planning on doing it. So what this means is now I have an extra attribute or an extra parameter on my attribute that says output type. And the output type is either going to be a string, or now we're going to have bit string, number to bit string. And it's going to ignore that property if it's not a number, and or if it's not one of the valid numbers. Oh, I guess whole number is what I really care about, huh? Dang, that's annoying. I mean, I guess what I'd have to do, like, can you actually represent decimal numbers in bits? Like, we can put a period anywhere we want in the number, but it doesn't matter. That's like overcomplicated. I'm getting really dark right now. I'm sorry. The sun seems to be disappearing. Cool. Summoning magic. I like dark humor anyway. Well, that kind of dark. I'm getting dark. I mean, everything is bits. Just don't do that. It's hard. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I know what I'm gonna do for that. Like I said, I have a property on my attribute that's gonna be the output type, and then in my source generator, it just looks for that named property, and it says if it exists, check to see what it turns into. And right now I have it set as an enum, but the source generator doesn't know that enum type, so it's only going to know the output value. And the thing that I needed to test was when I read it, am I getting the string version of that output value, or am I getting the numeric version of that output value? And I'm thinking I'm going to get the numeric version, but I would really, really, really like to debug to find out. But I can't debug my source generator suddenly. Do we still have a source generator in this project? No. Hello, Sir Blaxel. I've seen you around on other people's channels. Thank you so much for being here. You showed up on Community Day on our channel, and today is a day when I invite our community members to hang out with us in Discord chat, Discord voice channel. Just know that if you do join the voice channel and you start speaking, your voice will come through on the stream, and the stream is recorded. There's a VOD, as well as it gets posted to YouTube's after 24 hours, sometime after 24 hours. Yeah, just if you have any software or technology related topics, then please feel free to hop into one of the voice channels in Discord. I'll pull you into. Yeah, that's what Thindle is doing. Excuse me. He's waiting to get into Diablo 4. He's probably got like 15 minutes left, I think. Oh, I hope you have a ton of fun with it. I was saying something. Oh, yeah. So the topics that I would like to keep to or keep out of are the ones that can be construed as the wrong kind of controversial. So the controversial kinds of topics that we can discuss are programming practices and what is a good thing and what is a bad thing to do as a developer when you're writing software, etc. That kind of thing. Without reading into that too much and just using common sense. Yeah, like the tabs versus spaces fight kind of thing. and it comes up like often, but I understand the arguments for tabs, but I'm still a spaces person. I even agree with most of the arguments for tabs, but I've used spaces for so long that now just changing that is it's just too much, you know. Because I think my main issue with using tabs in the IDE is that there are times when I only want a certain number of spaces so that things line up better. Because like it's all just for presentation. It's all for developers to be able to read your code. Next one is RN versus NR. I mean, what do typewriters actually do? I think we should just use new line. We don't need to return back to the beginning. However, however, since we're still carrying it, then it should be what typewriters use, since that's what it was modeled after. Which I believe is return to the beginning of the line and go to a new line. \r\n. No nesting? What is no nesting? That'd be an interesting topic. Like, I understand reducing the number of nesting. Yeah, good question, Amanita. Oh, nesting ifs. Yeah. So reducing the amount of that, then yes. But never nest, there are most likely going to be situations that you'll encounter where it makes sense to nest versus try to find some what's the word? The thing that I like to do with all of my code. Elaborate? No, that's not elegant. Try to find some elegant way to move. Like nested ifs don't make sense unless it's like if this situation, then if this situation do this, otherwise, regardless or not otherwise, and regardless of what else, always do these things. Yeah, that one is good, Thindle, if you are using a list or things that do have the for each method. Someone had proposed doing an extension on IEnumerables to add for each, but that involves enumerating your IEnumerable, and you don't always want to do that, as in materializing it. Yeah. So it's like try to reduce your nest level as much as you can. Was it iCollection? I don't remember. Like you can go all the way back to iCollection if you want, sure. Observable collection in Xamarin. I don't know very much about Xamarin at all. Hello, Disco. Are you also in the queue for Diablo 4 along with our other friends? So yeah, like the common techniques for reducing the number of nesting is if you have an if statement that surrounds your entire method. I'm all clicking on interfaces. How about an implementation somewhere? Where are all of my implementations? Shared server, services. So, like here, the thing that I would care about here is if queryable is not, well, that's a lie. Actually, no, we can do it this way. So if queryable is not null, then do everything down here. Else, do this stuff. And it's like, it doesn't really make sense, or it makes perfect sense to do this. Where if queryable is not null, you can do this stuff. Otherwise, do this stuff down here. Versus what I have, which is just check for the negative case that exits early, or whatever the case is that exits early, and do only that, and then everything else beneath it doesn't get nested. So I raised I notify property change. I notify property change for each item added to the collection. Normally it's just raised when the full collection changes. So when you say normally, isn't that still something that you would have to manually decide? Because there is no property changed for lists. The only way that a list property would change is if you reassign it to something else. But dot adding and dot removing from it don't normally raise the property changed event. What are you telling me? Or the cancellation token. That's a good idea. Why not? Hello, Captain Commerce. Oh, good to see ya. I hope you're doing well. Are you also waiting to get into Diablo 4? I'm just going to ask that to everyone that says hello. But yeah, so it's definitely simple techniques, but if you have to write it in such a way that makes it hard to read and especially hard to maintain, then I would recommend opting to go for the nesting. Yeah. And like this, I absolutely love doing these. And not just that, I love doing. Oh, yeah, there was a reason why we couldn't do that. Oh, come on, control dot. And then doing this and making it even smaller. So that would be an example of removing nesting. More cat. More cat. It's still up on my screen over here. 648 stored procedures between meetings before committing. Dang. Dukasoft said something that Sir Blacksoul is responding to. What did you said, Dukasoft? Did I even finish my thought? I'm like not finishing thoughts because my mind is still on the events that are just going on. Which space? There are 19 different spaces. Oh, he made a poll. Gotcha. Thank I'm so blind. I cast my vote. I said I casted my vote. Oh, man. Get that energy moving. All right, so I'm not actually going to do those changes. Well, I guess I may as well keep the change. Keep the change. Save. Why not? Oh, good note. Thank you for that. To do, finish writing 2 entity extensions. Oh no, I got called filthy. Keep the change, you filthy animal. So are you quoting Home Alone or are you quoting the actual movie that he was watching? I know what it is. I just can't think of it. I can't anything right now. You don't think it's an actual movie? I thought it was I thought it actually was a movie. That's cool if it's only a scene for Home Alone. That's awesome. And you found it. So which space then is the question, because there are at least 16. Non-breaking space? No, I don't know how to get back to seeing chat window. And why did you switch over to my bot? Oh my gosh, I'm pushing all the wrong buttons. No. If there's an outer space, is there also an inner space? Yes. Simple. Yes. Mongolian vowel separators. Ooh, thin space. Hair space. It's even narrower than thin space. Oh, geez. And these aren't even like all of the non-printing white space characters. And the answer was, oh, I didn't actually see the results of the poll. Oh man. Thank you so much for the raid. Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to One Lion of Code. I am One Lion, and we're doing software development-ish. Actually, you caught us on hello, Adam.dev. We're actually on a community day today, and community day is where I ask members of our community to hop into, or if any of you have any topics that you want to discuss that are programming related, software related, technology related, etc., then just let me know. Sent you guys to a .NET stream. Respect the OG. What is the OG? Am I the OG? I am not the OG. .NET? Is that what you're saying is the OG? But thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. So the project that we work on the stream, by the way, is a financial management calculator, just a financial management tracker application. And what this thing is for is to show just a lot of programming principles and, you know, the approaches that I normally take for doing software development. I used to stream my actual job all day long when I was able to, but I'm no longer able to. .NET is where I start. Oh, OG for you. Awesome. What do you do now? If you need to go, don't let me hold you up. But if you feel like introducing yourself, saying hi, telling us what you were doing over on your channel, we'll see if you have any clips for us to watch together.
Like, I'm curious what
Oh,
problems where you felt like,
I know you.
this is just fucked. We got to go to something else. I haven't really felt that, but it's been like increasingly annoying, and Terraform is a lot better. But yeah, PTSD from using CloudFormation. Yep, it's bad. It's not good. These events are best used for handling.
Oh no. And I'll cut you off. Adam says, that's some excellent streamer etiquette. I wish everyone I rated would be aware that I have to go pee now. It's completely understandable. Like, anyone that comes in here doesn't mean that you want to actually be, you know, held up. So, yes, I appreciate all of it. Yes, I should probably do that. Completely understandable. But yeah, if you aren't already following, let's do a regular shout out unless Duca already did. He did. And if you aren't already following TH Dexter, definitely check out his channel doing software and game development. And hacking AWS, like writing software kind of hacking or like actual malicious activity, because I don't condone this. I must say that verbally. Hacking. But I have watched you before. I don't know why I wasn't already following, but I am now. I am now. Well, I'll tell you what. So anyway, the app. So I used to stream my current job when I was able to all day long, but I got a new job and I'm not able to do any of my software development on stream. But I still wanted to do Blazor development on stream because it is my absolute fave. So I was like, I've wanted to turn my Access database financial tracker thingy into a Blazor application or into a web application from a long time ago. I don't know how to word that for for quite some time by now, and so we did. So we went from the very beginning of starting a brand new project, and I was trying to employ the process that I would do if this were an actual client project. And so we did all of the plannings, we did all of the designing, not all of it. And then I did my best. Actually, it wasn't my best. I keep contradicting myself. I tried to start off with test driven development and follow that process. And there were just so many things that were tripping me up. I'm like, I just need to get better at this on my own. But we did go ahead and write a few tests first, implement the functionality. And the reason it was so hard to write those tests for me is because I had to do a lot of mocking of the database. And I did it in such a weird way. Looking back on it, it's like, did I really need to do it this way? And Broken Sword is here, and he's also in the queue for Diablo 4. But yeah, Vapor says he builds open source tooling on top of AWS. Awesome. His name is Dax. He builds SST. I don't know what SST stands for, but now we know. Ethically hacking AWS. Ever see Dirty Rotten Scoundrels? Yes. Once. Like, I guess I've seen clips of it. I've never watched the whole thing. And I think you were the one that showed me the clips. But yeah, he's making it more accessible. This one is CH's website. Are you gonna help me pronounce his name? Fodor? No. You would just call him Thad? Thaddeus. So, whoa. It's Thaddeus. Kicks you off a ledge. But this is their website. Any backend feature. Yeah, this would be really helpful if I were doing a lot more server stuff. And we may actually get to that point with this project where I'm trying to deploy it to X Cloud solution. I don't think I will. Yeah, we got a raid from THDXR, of which I will learn how to pronounce his name soon. Excel 97 is the best database. Database. Don't at me. Says Captain Commerce. So it's an OSS framework for building apps on AWS. That is awesome. Yeah, I have experience with AWS because that's where at my last job, that's where I deployed all of our apps. And so I can do some configuration, but the way that I did it was just they have three EC2 instances, and each of them are pretty much just treated like Windows servers. And they have their roles. And yeah. And then we did all of our Route 53 stuff through it. We got our certificates through it. And load balancing and a couple other things through that. Yeah, this is more like if you are actually configuring and working through configuring your AWS stuff and adding apps to it the right way. And I guess I have pushed a couple of EBS, a couple of minor apps to EBS when I was first learning how to do AWS stuff, but that's about it. All right. Where am I? Where are we? What are we doing? I was showing the app. So this is the current version of the app. We did some design on Figma, UI design. So I'm also like my core functionality, my core, the thing that I'm best at, I would say, is doing the functionality of an application, writing the logic to make it do cool stuff when you push a button. UI is probably my weakest as far as designing, but if you give me a design, I can throw together the UI for you just fine. Like it's nothing, which is what I did for my current job. I was given a design. They said redesign or implement this design so that the existing application uses it, uses the new UI. And then when they told me to integrate the existing app into the new UI, that was a lot of fun for me because that was where I was like really hooking up the little things and saying, all right, here's a service layer. The service layer is the thing that interacts with the existing application logic. And then whatever we need to do in that service layer to get the data into the new UI, we do. And that was a lot of fun. So now we have another release of that app, which again I can't really say who the client is or what the app is, but we have another release next week. So I am really, really busy with that and have been going through some interesting situations with my project manager, and it'll get better. Again, it'll get better. So, where did I go? My lips are extremely dry now. I've been breathing through it too much. Did I miss any chat? I don't think I missed any chat. Or I guess there was a conversation before the raid that was happening. I've forgotten what that is. Drink of water. Mm-hmm. And of course, I got that from InstaFluffs. When it comes to designing an application to use DDD, typically I don't employ any patterns on purpose. So when I've been doing all of the design work for the full stack positions that I've been in, which there was only the previous RMA job and then this one, but the application already existed and had its own architecture and structure and all that. But when you see me working on my stuff, you see me using things that kind of seem like I'm separating things into domains. There's like all of this server side stuff, but like my services themselves would be the individual domains. So we have account related things, we have lookup items related things, and we have transaction related things. And those are all grouped together that way, but it's more service layer kind of stuff that I like to do. I like to have this front end presentation layer that the only thing it does is it receives stuff from somewhere. It doesn't care where it gets it from, but it just gets stuff and it presents it to the user, and the user can click on stuff and it sends that somewhere else and either waits for something to come back or it just sends it off and that's it. Don't even need to worry about it. Then I like to have that. And the service layer is the thing that does the sending. And the service layer will either be implemented using a HTTP client. Maybe I will use gRPC or Signal R, depending on the need. And then on the server side, it's actually doing the stuff where it communicates with the database, file system, server resources, etc. So whatever that's called, that's the approach that I use. Like we have this. Do I still have the whiteboard app? Whiteboard. just to remind you of where we came from at the very beginning of this project, financial tracker. Loading. Please wait. Okay, so this is what we started with as far as how I designed the application. So here is where I was like, I'm going to have these projects. They're going to be in their own projects this way. This is how I'm splitting up the logic for the application. Do you know why programmers wear glasses? Because they can't see straight. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. Why? Why do .NET developers wear glasses? Thank you. And hello, Eclipse. I hope you're having a fantastic Friday. Oh, it's becoming such a good Friday. Thank you for being here. As soon as I get back to the job, though. Oh my gosh. Um, guys, what am I doing? We're looking at this beautiful drawing. So this is how my applications are typically structured, where I have all of my application types in separate projects. I have one shared user interface project that does all of the presentation for us. Maybe I'll have a couple satellite Blazor class libraries. Love the font. And then I'll have a middle layer for communicating. Like this will have all of the shared models that can be accessed from front end, server side, doesn't matter where. But that's all of the models that can be accessed from anywhere. The server stuff is the stuff that will only run on a server. So if we have an API, then the API will use the shared server. If we have a Blazor server application only, where everything is being done on the server, then it will use the shared server project. If we have a MVC project, which MVC here, I mean .NET MVC project type, not just regular old MVC architecture. ASP.NET, Razor Pages, whatever we want to have. That's all going to use this. Blazor WebAssembly will use a shared client because I'll have Blazor WebAssembly. That can also be a Maui project. That can also be a WPF project, WinForms, whatever is going to use a middleman to communicate to the server. So that's what there's a shared client one in here now that we added. Here's all of my tests, supposedly, which I am trying to use a library called bunit for all of my UI end-to-end testing. Is it end-to-end testing? No, it's UI unit tests is what bunit is best at. I wanted to figure, and probably will still, wanted to figure out how to hook up Playwright so that we could do the end-to-end testing and the flow and all that stuff. I have a separate library that does all of my database stuff using Entity Framework. And then this is where we talked about what we're going to do for the database, what tables and relationships we would need. This was all just brainstorming. And then here's some attempted ER diagram that shows. And we pretty much kept to this, except we started adding a few more fields like the deleted flag. Instead of hard deleting, we soft delete stuff. Then we talked about what should the UI look like? What kind of screen should we have? And so that's what all this is. Pretty drawing. And supposedly, I watched the video on the more recent ChatGPT 4. You can take this image, feed it to ChatGPT, and it will spit out the HTML needed to generate this UI. I want to see it do that to my writing. But it doesn't matter because we made it ourselves. Excalidraw. This is Dr. Moomba. I wonder what font it'll use. My handwriting, obviously. Excalidraw East. I keep covering up my chat window so I can't see what you guys are saying. Oh, okay. So this is just like another whiteboard type of app. I mean, it looks like it just loaded super fast and is easy to use with simple looking tools that are understandable. I like that. I need that in my life right now. Oh my goodness. Because like trying to figure out Figma for a while was hard, and then using a whiteboard wasn't as straightforward as it initially looked. Fixes users on lines in text. Oh, okay. So it'll help you. Awesome. Yeah. It'll help you stay writing neatly. Awesome. Cool. Yes. My phone, my Galaxy Note does that. What kind of phone are you? Whatever my phone is. Is there anything else to talk about the setup for the project? Not really. Let's just show what I got so far. We made it really far as far we made it really far as functionality is concerned. Because again, that's what I love doing. So right now, the main page is this. We don't actually have a working user store to do login and stuff. But we do have our input forms for, again, this application is for you to track your personal spending and savings. It's not really intended to replace anything like or have all of the features like QuickBooks or any of the other financial applications. This is just, I bought something from somewhere, so I want to log it and keep track of what I've been buying. Like, what is my average credit card bill? And yes, I could do stuff like use Mint and tell it, here's access to my account, do all of these summaries for me. And I do use Mint, but I use this more for being able to manipulate the data my way, I guess. Um, so, gosh, how am I trying to say this? I don't know. I just like needing to input my own financial events, financial transactions. That way I know what it is that I'm spending money on and I'm paying attention to it. And so when I enter something in here, I'm like, man, are we really spending that much money on XYZ? Like, are we really still paying for a whatever streaming service subscription? And again, there are other websites that will help you with that specific thing that say, tell us what all of your subscriptions are. And we'll remind you, have you been watching this? Are you still using this? If not, then push this button to unsubscribe from it and save money. But for me, it's just like, I don't know, just being able to enter the information myself and see what I am spending as I'm spending it, kind of thing. It's just helpful for me. And if it's helpful for me, it's helpful for at least one other person, right? But it doesn't even matter if it's helpful for anyone else because I'm really making this for myself. But it is a good way to see again the full stack process using Blazor to create 4, 5 different application types. In our project, we have a Maui project, which I actually just got rid of until we're going to get closer. Oh no, I didn't get rid of it. I just got rid of building it in release. But we have the Maui project. We have a WPF app that uses the same UI. We have a Blazor server. We have a Blazor WebAssembly with hosted backend. Where's the actual WebAssembly? Here. Yeah, 4 project types that all use the exact same user interface. And the backend logic, the thing that's done to manipulate the data when you click on things, when you try to get data, is split into 2 libraries. One of them is a server-side version and another is a client-side, depending on the project type. Yeah, so you can enter things that you've bought, keep track of who you're paying money to. Oh yeah, we also need ways to, gosh, I didn't write that down as a feature. Whoops. New issue. Add ability to edit. Oh, should I do them all individually? So we have quite a few lookup fields. We got our list of people that we can pay money to. We have the line items. Edit is clearly not a feature. You have to go into the database and add them yourself. That's how you edit these lists. And we have the actual accounts. So if you want to add the account, so these are the accounts that I currently have added to this thing, which are credit charge and shavings and checking. And hi, Scott. Are you waiting to get into D4? So I need a way to be able to add accounts, add payees, add more accounts, add deposit reasons. Transfer reasons are just memo. But like deposit reasons are recurring things that are just I don't want you to have to type in every single time projec as your memo. You're in a game of Valorant. So you're just lurking. Awesome. Well, thank you for the lurk. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for your energy. Yeah. So I don't know if I should add an individual feature for each one of these lookup fields. Or should I just say implement editing lookups? Because they are going to be done slightly different. So to add an account, which is kind of treated like a lookup, is going to be different than just adding a payee, because when you add an account, you need to specify your starting balance for that account and the starting date and the date of that starting balance, and a name and the type of account it is. Is it a checking account, savings account, credit card, loan, whatever else you can add? And also, those values there, the account types, are also another lookup field that you should be able to edit. Yes, absolutely. Yes, and I don't know about good first issues. Like what I was planning on doing is getting it stable, completing all of the main features on stream, but we are kind of getting to a point where it's pretty fleshed out as far as functionality is concerned. So things that could be improved would be UI design. Submitting a new design, even if you don't implement it yourself, submitting a new design would be a great help. Redoing the actual design implementation of the UI. Adding accessibility features is another great one. And now we have all of these edit lookup list things. So yeah, now that you say that, I will put them as individual tasks. I don't know if it's going to be a good first feature though. Or a good first, what is it called? A good first issue. Payees. For this project. This should be available in the enter payment details screen. It's an add button next to the payees. with a dialog. So I'm pretty sure that I have the server-side logic done. Or adding accounts, or modifying lookups, adding lookups. Oh, just look at the interface. That'll tell you what we have. So we got get the full list of lookup items of a certain type, get the specific lookup item of a certain type, add a lookup item, update and delete. Yeah, so we have all of the CRUD operations for lookup items. We just need to put it into the user interface now and then call these services, service methods. And so Dr. Mumbo wants to know, what do you think of Blazor so far? So far has been 4 years of Blazor now. A little under 4 years. And so the easiest thing to say is that I absolutely love it. There are things that I don't like necessarily. One of the things is when you're starting the application, regardless of whether it's, well, I don't know. Is that the case? I don't know if it's going to run while I'm using .NET Watch. Okay. We'll see. Go again. Disable just my code. Go. Do the thing. So that little loading thing there, I know we can do cool stuff with it. I know that we can make it pretty. We can do loading bars. We can do fake starting screens, which is what I currently have. So I have hard-coded HTML in my Blazor WebAssembly project that looks like the main screen, even though it's just a facade that's sitting there waiting for the main screen to finish loading. Come on, you can do it. So this entire Dukasoft content wrapper here is just, I let the app load, copy the HTML output and pasted it up here so that the application looks like what it would if it had already loaded. Because when you go to a site, you kind of expect the homepage to just be there and be ready to load. But with Blazor, if you're using WASM especially, you have to wait for some time for either the .NET Runtime WASM version of it to download, and or wait for the application to be run through the runtime and display on the screen. So there's always some amount of delay when you first go to the site that has it loading. And again, there are techniques that you can do to get around that to make it look like the user is looking at a static site with some dynamic content in places. But right now, JavaScript with Ajax still performs better in that way. Or JavaScript with any kind of client side, don't refresh the page when you submit a form kind of stuff, is what I mean. But other than that, I absolutely love being able to write all of my UI in HTML and C#. I do very, very, very little JavaScript stuff, but I do have some JavaScript interop things for stuff that the UI that Blazor can't do. For example, collapsing select lists. So we have an issue in when you use the Blazor web view in a WPF app, where if you expand a combo box that's in the web content and you try to move the window, the expanded part of the box stays in place and the window moves. And so we just have the WPF window sending an event when you start dragging it that tells the Blazor part, I'm being dragged. You should act on that. And it says, okay, I'll act on it. I'll collapse any select list that's expanded. And so it does. And it looks nice now instead of weird. And that's what this is here for. That needs to go away soon. because that was just for that. Yeah, there's still unimplemented stuff when you're running in as a desktop app. Oh yeah, I guess this really kind of multiplies it too. You get 4 apps for the price of 1. At work, we have a project that is a WPF app, heavy app. I'm planning to migrate it to Blazor for web instead of desktop. That is, but not sure how well it will handle, so trying to reuse much of the old code. So that's kind of dangerous. So as long as your WPF app currently is just a again, same thing that I was talking about earlier, just a presentation layer where your WPF is just showing the content, doesn't care where content is coming from. It's just outputting it onto the screen, sending stuff through a service to update whatever needs to be updated, however it does it. Awesome. It's going to be easy for you. Otherwise, you're going to need to start architecting the application so that you split up any logic that's supposed to run on a specific computer or communicate with a specific server into its own library and then pull it out of the WPF app. You can ask as many questions as you want, Mojo. I'll join on this then. My last question, for at least for 5 minutes. Are there any real benefits for VS Pro Enterprise over Community? I have access to them with my student email. So there are a few features that you only get in Enterprise. IntelliTest, for example, I think is one of them. IntelliTest. Yeah, I'm pretty sure IntelliTest is one that you only get in Enterprise. But that's where you can be inside of a C# file, or I honestly don't know what the extent of it is. And you right click on this thing and you say, I want to add a test for this, and it'll create a test for you. You also get the glyphs for all of the things that you have testesses for. But I think we might have that in community now. I guess the right answer is if I can't tell from that link, then no. I can't say I would technically use this for work because student account, but yeah, I mean, there's just like the things where you have to use a certain license version when you're doing it as work products. But like what this should do is we're in lookup. Excuse me. Well, let's go to the account service. Is for any test that for any method that is covered by this test. So let's say add deposit. That's not account services, that's transaction entry. Anyway, so this add transaction, we get this in our code lens, which is cool, but you would get a always running essentially test that has a glyph that shows up over here somewhere that gives you better indication of is this passed, is this failing, is it even covered by tests. I don't remember too much else, but I'm sure that there are other enterprise specific features that I used to have, but I haven't missed any of them. But I had a Visual Studio Enterprise subscription when I was at my previous job. Oh. Okay. it shows, yeah. So this actually doesn't. You're right. I have enterprise right here for my current job. Nerd. But yes, Git blame or just blame in general is part of CodeLens, at least in enterprise. So CodeLens is the text that shows up here above methods and properties and stuff. And one of the things you'll see in here is last person that made changes and then number of how long ago that was. And then another section for how many people have touched this and who are they, kind of thing. Yay, Git blame. Yeah, this references thing is so super duper helpful. I mean, you could get to it in community using Shift F12 or right click, find all references and stuff. But this one is just so, you look at it, you're like, I wanna see this. Yeah, show me this. And you just jump right to it. I love it. First thing I disable no more blame. Oh man, have we used that? At work, we have a project that is a WP. Oh, I already read that. Which is the old code that is. So, here's how I would recommend. If your project is not already structured in a way where the logic for communicating with the server or the backend. So your backend doesn't have to be a server. It could be a Windows service, for example, running on the same computer that the application is. You are correct. No one is on the call. But that's okay because we're still having community day through chat. I am focused completely on chat. Completely. I'm still very, very distracted from situations and conversations. But I didn't even have this started.
Howdy.
Howdy. Speak again.
I am Peter. Howdy,
Also,
everybody.
turn your head and cough. I'm kidding.
Wait a minute. It's an audio call anyway. I just followed directions. That was wow. Tell me to do it, I'll do it. Tell me your credit card number. So sure. Expiry date. So anyway, I was in the book club stream. Heard a ding.
Book club stripping?
Stream.
Stream.
No, whoa. I mean, we've already. Anyway. Oh, DFlux here. Welcome. You're muted. Or you're muted.
He also doesn't have
yourself.
ears.
Okay. It's gonna be difficult.
Hey.
Welcome. I heard
Shades of yay.
I just joined DFlux. How are we doing? Live coding
DFlux.
and chat and one online and everyone else.
So
you guys
got this giant raid.
Yeah,
everyone's secretly not at their computer because they're not getting on the call. I don't know.
Every Friday I am actually like busy and I want to join the call, and every often I'm missing so many of the Lion streams these days. Like miss them completely. Where I used to be like a religious like, let's take a break from doing any work and just stare at one line for a few hours.
You were there like the whole time that I was even at work too, like the 6-hour streams.
But you gotta remember, I started to really watch you intently when I was unemployed and I was trying to learn how to do C#, or Blazor.
Nice. I don't know, unemployment, nice. No, I gotcha. You said when I was. That's what I'm saying. Nice too. Congrats.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've been gainfully employed for many years now since I've learned Blazor.
There we go. Excellent.
So what do you guys think? Should I be adding an individual issue for every single one of my drop downs that need an edit functionality added to them?
I wouldn't know. So that issue feature is like a GitHub specific. So that there's like Git features and there's GitHub specific features, and that issue thing is like a GitHub specific feature. So I use them sort of gingerly. and like I'll use them, but like not excessively.
How about
So I would
this?
go ahead.
Oh, no, I fully agree. I have a specific related solution because yeah, it's for open source projects for other people to say, hey, I have this issue with your thing, or someone on another team. But you are the team and you are the user. I'll just say make an issue called backlog, and then edit it every time you need to mess with
Ooh.
something.
But
And then
that's
if
the
you
thing.
have a
I'm
really
still associating pull request with specific issues. That's the thing.
well, oh, you are doing that, huh?
Yeah. Because, like I said, I still want to employ the full process that you would do as if you were on a team for this project, so we can see that.
Um, and that goes to the question of how much do you want to split out individual drop boxes? Do you think?
Exactly.
I think the business value. Let's talk in team speak, Scrum speak.
Wait, I don't have TeamSpeak. I have truly.
Scrum. Well, you have Scrum speak, so you're good to go. In Scrum speak terms, would you have a individual story or many stories for these things?
Yeah, and for our team, it pretty much looks like one feature, one. But that's the thing. What am I calling the feature? Is it the ability to edit the lookup list, or am I calling the feature adding the ability to add new payees?
This is where not having a real business user makes it difficult to answer these questions. I'll say you are the business user, put on a different hat, and then answer that question. I mean, I can just shoot
So
from the hip. Like I would say UI, write it in terms of the UI, and you can even say fix all of them. Go ahead.
yeah,
And
I
yes,
was gonna
Mojo.
say, um, like one feature branch or one feature or a branch that's like got fixes in or whatever could fix tons of issues. And so an issue could have many, and issues could have many commits, right? So I personally would steer towards generalization, unless like it's a third, like unless it's someone else, it's like a third party to your team or something like that. Because like if I have an issue with someone's code, I'm gonna hook them up on Teams, and be like, hey, can we discuss this? And then it never even touches GitHub. Unless GitHub is actually the vocal point that you're dealing with another person, where they need to understand the quote unquote issue that you can't get on the phone and talk to them about, then yeah, sure, do like each issue and spell it out. But in reality, we don't do that. We just like backlog. That's
Yeah,
basically
and that's
yeah.
where live coding was talking about. This is an OSS. So if someone else were to pick up this issue, and I wanted it to, like, if I wanted it to be someone else could pick this up and implement it on their own. If they pick this up, do I want them to implement all of the abilities to add to drop down list, or do I want them to only add the ability to add to payees?
Put on your hat. I will
Yep,
say one real quick thing is that there
absolutely.
are
Please do.
legitimate Scrum advice, and I'm using Scrum Speak, maximum Scrum Speak. Mojo had a great point about um, using
Video.
epics, which I thought was
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing Scrum Speak, great work. But Scrum Speak, they do talk about limiting the size of your backlog. So like if you write everything out, it's going to turn to garbage after you implement a third of it.
That's a good
Like
thought.
it will be out of date, which is why I'm saying have like a very vague backlog. But maybe
Big issues break
also
into
like
tasks.
that was a different issue. How do I say this carefully? You are trying to make tie everything to individual stories,
Essentially.
issues,
Mm-hmm.
GitHub issues, and therefore you should have an issue for each thing you're actually doing. And now you're saying you want other people to be able to do it, but I think that's iffy.
Okay.
Maybe you can make the issue once someone actually submits. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just trying to be lazy. I'm trying to be
No.
lazy.
Yeah, and in this case, I want to be as well. I want to do the least amount of work for what's appropriate for this.
Okay. Mojo says, I'm learning Azure DevOps and spent too much time yesterday reading their docs. Just remember, Mojo, under the hood, Azure DevOps is Team Foundation Server, and everyone hated Team Foundation Server.
I loved
Hated it a lot.
VSTS.
Oh, man. Right. But I use like 2008. So anyway, all I'm saying is just, just realize what you're looking at. You're looking at a thing that is not very loved, except sometimes it's loved by other people. All right.
I was gonna say I think Azure DevOps is agnostic to whether or not you're using Team Foundation or Git. I don't think it has any differing.
Specifically what he's looking at, the epics, I think, is pulling a lot of its history from the old TF project management stuff where they had, oh goodness, what were they called? Work items?
That
Everything was
sounds
a
right.
work item.
Yes. I mean, like right now, they're still called work items, so I don't know if
You can smell it.
I mean, I guess I think it is agnostic though.
Yeah, the version control is Git, which is necessary nowadays. Anyway.
Yeah, it sounds like there is something similar to what you can do in ADO where you create an epic based off of stories, and then you have tasks or bugs or features associated with that story and or epic.
Mojo, there's no shame. I'm just being a hater. Like, don't worry
Super
about what
long
I say.
function names. Go.
They would call it mult. Oh, okay, well that. If that's Commodore, this is ubiquitous language. Here's more. This isn't Scrum speak. This is
yeah, we're shifting
ubiquitous
topics.
language. There we go. Ubiquitous language. Call it what it's called on the UI. It's probably the most simplest, effective thing. Call it what it's called on the UI. There's a label on the thing on the UI somewhere.
I mean, try to use as few words as you can, but enough that if someone else read the variable name or method name, they know what it does. According to Kevlin Henley, is that his name?
Henny. No.
That's his name. Kevlin.
Man, Mojo. You're going to shoot to the roof with that attitude. But no, I am a hater. I try and like let people know that like it's not, how do I say this? This isn't a mega serious opinion that I hold to. I don't just, you can smell the TFS. That's all I'm really saying.
If you had to write down all the things you don't like about TFS in Cosmos DB, it'd be very expensive. Put it that way.
Oh, thank you. See, I'm on brand. See, I have a brand, and that brand is expanding. So hating on Cosmos, legitimately, I did talk to a Microsoft guy and was like, "Can you tell us how to save money in Cosmos?" Because they keep introducing new things to make it cheaper, but just read between the lines. Everyone moves away from Cosmos after running it for a few months. And I don't mean everyone. I mean, like, everyone who runs it more than, for the free tier.
I tried to get, so basically where I work, there's like 10 layers of bureaucracy to everything. And so I tried getting permission to use Cosmos somewhere in our application just to get a feel for exactly that. Like, is this costing a lot of money? How can we use this? And they were like, you will not use Cosmos. I was like, oh okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was actually
maybe it was me. Maybe it was me through that 10 layers of bureaucracy saying, "Don't you dare."
It could very well be like somewhere else in the bureaucracy. They're like, I don't know what Discord servers you're on, but they're listening in. They've read your comments, and they're like, "Wait a minute."
We're on the stream. This is we're at 400 viewers.
Oh yeah,
approximately.
My. But no, I've been trying to stream more ish, somewhat.
Right.
What I do is I open up Twitch.tv and I see someone that I like the vibe and things that they're streaming. I'm like, why should I stream when someone 10 times better than me that I would rather watch is streaming?
Because you can do both.
I'm not at your level, my friend. But no, I've been trying. I'm going to do more of it.
That's cool. It's really cool to hear. Glad you are. I don't know how to word though.
I hate struggling on stream. So everything I think is interesting to do, I would like to do, and then it's just me staring at a screen. Like, I was not streaming last night. Struggling with the dumbest things in the world. By the way, do we have any NeoVim users in chat? NVim, speak up. There we go. We don't.
He clackety clackety clack it with his mechanical keyboard.
It is
the
allowed.
whole
Sorry. Yeah.
the whole it isn't like the whole like visual VS Code, right?
Okay.
I never understood the whole like let's use Vim, let's use Nano, let's use
Because there
I
are
never
people
got
that
the
are
whole
super duper fast at it and just really, really comfortable with it. It's what they grew up
guess.
with, or it's what they adapted to, or it's just what they're good at.
No, don't worry about any of it. Like it's and to
I'm
try
good at
stuff.
different
Okay,
things.
well, whatever. Like, how do I say this carefully? I'm just trying it out as part of a thing, but like trying to give it a fair shake. I'm very happy in VS Code. That's right, Chad. I'm happy with VS Code for most of my stuff. And obviously, if
You will
do
not get
.NET
shamed.
development, you want to in C#. You really do want either Visual Studio or the JetBrains product, but VS Code for everything else is perfectly good. I've learned to use it effectively, but I do want to try Vim. I am just blowing up the conversation, but anyway, I had a problem.
This is on topic. This is good.
Here's the Vim experience. So I got a bunch of things running, and I followed the tutorial, which has worked every other time. And then it is successfully setting the colors. Setting the color scheme successfully now, so I know that the config file is being loaded, but then it doesn't do anything else. But then if I load the config file and quote source it, then it makes it effective. So what I'm saying is the config file is half loading, and then you're like, well, Peter, turn on your logging and look at what's happening there. And I did, and the logs look beautiful, which is of course so rare. Logs never look beautiful. So anyway, I'm stuck. I need an NVim person to tell me what is happening.
There's this guy that I watched not too long ago, started watching, and he is all about NVim. Adam.dev.
By the way, you got raided 2 raids ago by a NeoVim developer.
Oh.
So I was in the TJ book club, and then I was on an iPad, and so I raided the next person, and then the raid after that failed. So when I guess it was Dexter, THX something.
Yeah.
Raided you. I did not go with the raid, which was funny.
Dexter. Thank you. You told me how to pronounce it.
So yeah, good, because I didn't. I just see the letters. I'm like, so what I was saying is I wasn't paying attention. I was actually doing work anyway, so it didn't matter. Yeah. But got raided. So this is why I'm hoping there's some leftovers in chat. Someone in chat is a leftover who has used NeoVim. Anyway.
Gotta be.
But cool. So be it. But that was a solid 10 minutes of my life last night, and then the rest of it
trying to get in.
About. Even struggling. Leftover from the raid. That's right, TQ. I see you. You're real.
I love the I get this a lot at work now. Like when they say, "Well, that took me 30 minutes," and like this took me 10 minutes, and I didn't do anything all day, but they always can line things up to. Do you get this at all? Like people will say, "Oh man, I had to spend 2 hours on that. That was a real waste of time." Like they learned something or they did it wrong. It's like you weren't doing anything else with those 2 hours. In fact, you were doing nothing all day.
I'm not going to go into that because I will go on forever. That is what I'm currently extremely frustrated, and I'm going to say angry, like literally angry. But yes, Adam.dev is who I was talking about. You're right.
So I've been trying to work out how to do unit tests, and to put it plainly, I'm 4 unit tests in. Like I've written 4. Did ChatGPT do 90% of the work? Yes, it did. I still don't get it.
Thank you, Dr. Rumble, by the way.
Did I break down and purchase ChatGPT to $20 so I can keep asking it questions? Yes, I did.
Oh, no.
Did you try ChatGPT 4 yet?
That's it is. Yeah, that's why I spent the $20 so I can get ChatGPT 4. Because what happens is you ask it a really good question and it starts to explain a really good answer. You're like, oh my god, I get it, I understand it, and then it just freezes and locks out because you've used too many tokens of whatever it's called for the free version to answer the question. Especially if you're like, here's my code, here's what I'm trying to think about doing. Can you implement some of it and return it back to me? And it gets halfway down the file and it goes, ran
Right.
out of things.
Yeah. And then you type continue, and then it starts the whole thing over again. And
Yep.
it gives you a
Yeah,
different answer, stops at the same spot.
especially, and then you have to like. So what I was doing was I literally said, you know, like what would you call the unit tests? And it gave me like a list, like 10 names of methods. And I was like, well, what about number 3? Can you tell me about number 3? And then it would like break it down so I could understand it. Rather than like
So,
telling
like
it to like give me like more, like I tried to break it down a little bit more. Anyway, so eventually I gave up doing that. And so when I have ChatGPT 4 now, it can do massive long, and it can like I can like give it like a whole class file and be like, can you explain why I'm calling this method here and then why it's going down here? I don't get what the developer's trying to fucking do here. Because part of my thing is I still don't get unit tests, so I'm still figuring that part out. So yeah, but yeah. So I'm trying to. But so ChatGPT 4 has been very helpful for that. I'm being very lazy now.
I'm not
love to
being lazy. I'm
explain
using it as a resource. But yeah, Mojo is asking this to you, most likely. Live coding.
But people talk about NeoVim. Is it also just in the terminal, or is it a separate app? It is a terminal application. There is a terminal mode that I don't know enough details about, where they kind of run as not appending lines of text to the terminal. They take over the whole terminal, and it's almost like a GUI. Anyway, but it's a TUI, a terminal UI or text UI.
Oh yeah.
So it runs in the terminal. It's the short answer. It's a program that runs in the terminal. Yeah. But yeah, like anyway, so I would love to explain unit tests, but or we could work through like actual useful. Don't forget, everyone's doing it wrong. So just keep that in mind as you learn. Also, Thindle had the same things to say about ChatGPT. I don't actually understand everything. One of y'all's gonna have to translate.
Oh, which part? I actually didn't see the remark on ChatGPT. GTT. I watched the Nick Chaps' video on it.
Yeah, I saw that too. He did 2 or 3 of them now.
Yeah.
Many of y'all understand, like at a low level, how this stuff works. It's still a black box to me. That's a confession.
Like I watched videos on how it works, but no, black box for me too.
How ChatGPT works, you mean?
You have
like I understand like how something like Stable Diffusion works with generative adversarial networks. I understand those. I don't know if that's what ChatGPT does.
Yeah, black box. I'll get to it. One day, it actually seems like one day is going to come pretty quick. I'm going to have to understand it pretty well. So, anyway, it was good.
Oh, I guess I should show what I'm doing over here.
Kindle is famous.
Maybe not. It'll be fine.
Look.
That's covered up, so that's on you guys. So lazy. Please type.
What were we doing? You're filling out issues. Yeah. Would love to talk through unit tests. Like,
yeah, I have a couple of unit tests.
Need like 4 hours though. So
yeah,
you've got 8 minutes. If you want to quit on time, you need to set a 25. Let's just say the 25-minute mark. To be your cutoff.
I have my alarm go off at 27 or 28. But yeah. But yeah.
My thing is the unit tests that I've produced so far are testing stuff that I know is never going to not work. Which is like,
but you don't know that because you don't know if in the future a developer is going to change the logic for how it does that method.
Yeah, this is very true. So that's
Never
well, I'm thinking, but it's like so like for instance, I have like a HTTP method, right? You hand it in 2 objects, and it like saves into the database and just returns those 2 objects. So I have a unit test that hands in 2 objects to a HTTP and then returns the same 2 objects. And it's like, I don't think .NET is going to stop returning 2 objects.
I will say your ORM, and this is where everyone's doing it wrong. I don't believe in unit testing. I don't believe unit testing that is very valuable unless you are exercising as much of your ORM as possible.
Like,
Are
I'm
you
unit
using an
testing the
ORM?
service. I'm not like personally. I don't unit test the ORM itself.
That's what I'm saying. Entity framework. Like I'm gonna unit test entity framework. I just
Definitely
literally
want
put the
to.
thing in there and I hit save. Like, what am I gonna
Like
unit test out
in
of
that case, the thought is probably you're unit testing that your database structure is correct. And so if you change your database structure, that test should continue passing.
We'll
right?
also say I have found via, this is like if you wrote the test after, then you already know it worked. If you were writing the tests that say, here's a new endpoint, I've not implemented any of the entity framework mappings. It's like a test harness for like even if you delete the test at the end, say I want to save this thing to the database using entity framework. I want to pull it back from the database using entity framework. I want to see that the stuff I pulled back is the same as the stuff I saved. And if your mapping doesn't exist, that'll be a pretty easy failing test. And you implement part of the mapping, you have no idea what you're doing because no one does with the ORMs. It's so weird. But no, it works. You will know what you're doing, and then they're going to rewrite entity framework again. Again, I'm just here to hate. I'm here to hate. This is my brand.
Method names are not going to change, right? Let's hope.
That's okay. No, and that's the other thing is that, like, when I do use entity framework, I like refuse to do anything complex with it. Like I just do not see the benefit of trying to. It's literally just add the thing, hit save. Don't like. I've seen people they assert that it's been changed, and then they declare this and they do that, and it's like no. Just get the object, do like a little database lookup, return it, make the change, hit save, and then you're done.
I have another thing the tests are useful for. When it's time to upgrade Entity Framework to its next rewritten version that has not been announced yet. Joking. But like serious library upgrades, this is when you start feeling much better about your tests that are basically...
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
That's a big one. And like, especially like we even, depending on where you write the layer, like I have a old project that was built on in Hibernate, probably wishing they could switch to Entity Framework. And depending on how they wrote their tests, if they wrote their tests very far outside, could just say I send this data to the whatever repository or whatever service, then something happens on the back end. It used to be in Hibernate, now it's Entity Framework, and then here are the 8 things I care about that have to be perfect coming back, and then all the details are just thrown out. Anyway, all right, what do we have in Thindle saying?
Yeah, Thindle's statement about would you put stuff in a services project, or do you do emails? Like that sounds the same to me. I do have one. I was showing that. I do have one shared server project that has my services that are run on the server with class names, the way that you were saying, and not individual SMS service project, email service project. That still sounds okay to me though. But it depends on how granular you want your, or not granular, modular you want your stuff to be, because again, you just make interfaces for your services and then you can have as many projects implementing those services as you want, split up however you want. That's my answer.
I honestly think this is like a personal preference thing. This is like the 2 spaces versus 4. Like I am a
and everyone's like tabs is the only right answer.
I want you to guess my opinion on this because it's going to be weird. I'm going to preface it with
yes, if you want to hate on everything, then the answer is don't use services.
Kind of, but that's a great one, but that one's not for today. And I do think email service is valuable. It is on the outside of your system. It's valuable. What was I saying? Collapse everything into one project. Everything is one project.
So you're in favor of monolith?
Project. Oh man, am I ever? Everything in one project. Of course, you have once you then have to deploy 2 different things like a website and a console app. Then you have a website project, a console app project, and a or dot everything project. That's it.
Core.
Ironically,
that's what it's called.
Well, it's shared, I would say, right? Ironically, that was like when I started to do C#, my like I was like, my thing was I was just going to learn Blazor because that was new at the time, and I just want to learn like a new technology so I could be first. Because there's like 3 ways you can win at life. Like one's cheating, and I don't cheat. The second is being the smartest in the room, and I'm certainly not that. And the third is being first. And so I was like, well, let me be first with this one. So I started learning Blazor, and that the paradigm of having the service, like the server side, like the client side, and then the share project that goes between them. That's how I like start all my projects now. It's like the right, but so I have a project that I started way in the beginning that's now migrated, and we now have Maui apps. We now have constant applications that are like running in the background all the time now to handle like various integrations. Like what's the Intuit? What's their freaking tax thing? QuickBooks, right? QuickBooks integration, and we have like DocuSign integration, and then we have like a SMS web integration with Twilio, and so now it's like this, and so now I'm going back to like trying to organize this out into like projects that make sense with naming that makes sense. Thank God for Visual Studio folders, because I look at the actual folder structure. Yeah, solution folders. That's right. I look at my actual like folder structure. I'm like, good God, where is everything? Open Visual Studio. Here it is. But that's again, that's because it's like I started that project before I even knew what even GitHub or Git or any of this stuff was. I used to use Resilio Sync before I knew what Git was. I don't know if you know. So that's basically a tool that's like a continuous peer-to-peer network between 2 computers. So you can have like a folder, but rather than like sharing via Dropbox, which goes to Dropbox servers and then shares it back down, it's so you can do like peer-to-peer folders. So I would do that, and then I would have like a separate computer, and I'd zip it up right outside of it or whatever. It's like
you used it as a crutch and then stopped using the crutch at some point. So that's success. Congrats. Didn't lose all your data while syncing, thankfully. That is the one thing on Git, by the way. They're like, never use Git on Dropbox. Just don't.
Oh gosh, yes.
I
tried that actually like 2 weeks ago.
Well, as long as you know that files are synced, you're safe.
Yeah. But then you get conflict if you have it open on one machine and then on another machine, and it saves that blah blah blah's conflict. Oh, I hated that.
Talking about.
We're talking about it is the end of the stream.
It's the end. It is time to go.
It is time to go.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
As long as it's real quick, because I really need to get back to work.
I appreciate live coding. I love how active you are on the Discord, and I really want to say that I appreciate that a lot. So thank you for being active in the Discord.
I can't not answer questions. It's a disease. I can't, like, if you said
it's a compulsion.
It is. I have to mute every channel, and that's why you'll never see me in most of your channels, because I'm just up there.
Understand. I am exactly the same. Like if you look
here, I have to read every unread.
Do you see any markers next to any channels like there are unreads? No, because they're all
hide
muted.
The Slack. I have to hide from my tray because it has that little dot that tells you there's an unread message. It's not a. Someone tags me, I'll get a separate notice. But all right, we gotta go.
Exactly.
Been real, and thank you. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Cool. Thank you guys so much. You're awesome. And thank all of you. So I did put in that issue, so it's there. You're definitely welcome to try picking it up if you want. However, that is something that we will want to work on in the future as part of the things that we want to add to this current app. No, not way off topic. Worst part is that Americans will be logging in all night, so I can't really wait. Yeah, there is a major difference between the way that people do work in America versus overseas, from what I've learned so far. There's like a different mentality for this drive to be like, working all the time, essentially. But I'm only saying that from a personal point of view. So me as an American, I do that. And he's talking about Diablo 4. That's funny. I'm talking about work and still. But But you're saying that it's still the middle of the day over there, and the Americans are still crowding up the servers, even though it's like midnight. And actually, it's 12 p.m. here, but whatever. I didn't follow what you said, but that's okay. I don't need to. So that's going to be it for today's stream. I need to get back to work and address a lot of these things that have come up recently. So I really, really, really appreciate all of you being here. I am currently lurking on Red Cabin Games' channel. So we are going to go ahead and set up a raid to head on over to him. He is a game developer working on a pretty cool looking game using Unity. So if you feel like it, then hang around for a raid over to Red Cabin Games, and then I'm going to go grab a snack and then jump back into my work and refactor that everything all the time. Thank you, DFlux, and thank you, Peter, for hanging out with us on Voice Channel. You were amazing. And it was great seeing all of you, Thindle Dukasoft et al. Those are the last two names that I see in chat. Mojo, Dr. Moomba, and then all of you that came out with the raid, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and weekend. Feel free to join our Discord. I will be posting the recording for this, no sooner than 24 hours after we end the stream. And feel free to check out the project. A lion is here. So yeah, enjoy. You might catch me around. I might just disappear for the next few hours yelling at stuff. For the heck of it. And thank you so much, Skin Biscuits, for the follow. Thank you. Oh, yes. Okay, so we'll head over to Red Cabin Games. I'll talk to y'all later. Ciao for now.